Hi, this is Ed Grimes, owner of All Creatures Animal Education, coming to you live from our reptile room, where we bring you education through encounter. I would like to introduce you guys to one of my friends. This is Ophello. He's a leopard gecko. Now, leopard geckos are good starter pets for somebody who wants to get into reptiles or exotics. They're pretty easy to handle. They're pretty easy to feed, having a diet mostly of crickets and mealworms. As far as temperature goes, they're a little less demanding than some other animals. As you can see, they're fairly mellow. They come from the Middle East, and what people really like is these chunky tails. You can kind of see they store their fat and some of their water reserves in that fat tail. So a healthy leopard gecko will have a nice chunky tail like that. In the wild, they're going to have this leopard spotted pattern all the way up their back. But in the reptile hobby, we have what's called morphs, and that means that they've been selectively bred to have different patterns and coloration. So he is a morph, but I'm not sure what morph he is, as he's somewhat of a rescue. Ophello was brought to me in a very small cage, like a cricket carrier. From what I gather, I'm not sure that he had any proper heat source. Who knows when the last time he had eaten was. And despite the fact that he's a desert lizard, desert creatures often do this thing where they find what's called a microclimate. And a microclimate is essentially a more forgiving climate within another climate. So he's a desert lizard, but he's going to look for burrows and things like that underneath places that are more damp and a little more hospitable. So despite the fact that these guys are desert animals, they still need an area of humidity because that's what they need in the wild to shed. So he wasn't given that, and you can kind of see on his feet there, he's missing toes on both of his back feet. And that's because he wasn't given any humidity at all. So when he shed, the shed constricted his poor little fingers and toes, and unfortunately they fell off. But now he lives in a nice vivarium. He's got a humid hide. He regularly gets sprayed down, and he's living happily on a diet of crickets, mealworms, and soon to be roaches. So if you're interested in an exotic pet, leopard geckos make great pets, but just remember that reptiles have very specific needs, and they must be met in order for them to survive.